Welcome to the Wholehearted Impact podcast with Jen Majors, where we talk about healing, faith, identity, purpose, and the courage to live fully alive. If you're ready to break free from what has held you back, renew your mind, and walk in truth, freedom, and wholehearted purpose, you are in the right place. Hello, precious people. Welcome back to the Wholehearted Impact podcast. I'm your host, Jen Majors. I'm really excited to be with you all today. In true Jen Majors podcast fashion, I'm going to be digging deep and going pretty deep and being as vulnerable and authentic as possible as I talk with you all about wholehearted leadership, building a business without losing yourself. So let's get ready to dive in. So business and leadership will expose what is unhealed in us. I guarantee you. It has been one of my biggest challenges in leadership and in business is, when I jumped into owning my own real estate brokerage, I just wanted to have a family business. I didn't ever imagine it was going to grow. I just wanted to do really good business, and I wanted to do business with my people. And I'm also a high school dropout. I dropped out of high school in the 9th grade. I got my GED while I was pregnant with my daughter at 15. And I got a college scholarship, went to a few years of college, very sporadic college attendance. And I probably have 2 years of college altogether. And that was probably a span of like 15 years or something. And so I'm not, I don't have a big fancy education by any means. I do, however, have a lot of grit and determination. And I'm a pretty smart person because I can always figure it out. And there's a part of me that just jumps in with both feet. And I'm really excited and I have a lot of faith and I believe that it's possible. And so that I just dive in and I learn along the journey. And in doing that, when you're creating a massive business, which now my business is pretty large, we are the fastest growing brokerage in the interior of Alaska. We are, my husband is the number one realtor in the area. Several of our realtors in the top 15, 20 realtors in our marketplace. And we do business at a high level. We have about 10% market share, which is a lot of market share for a real estate market. With that comes, like I just said, business and leadership will expose what is unhealed in us. And so that's exactly what my business has done over the course of the 12 years I've been in business. It has challenged me wholeheartedly. It has called me to account. I have made incredible strides, incredible accomplishments. We've built an amazing business, and I have made a lot of mistakes, some of them heavy, some of them big, some of them not so big. I've made mistakes with people, in front of people, all sorts of things. I've had to ask for forgiveness. I've had to give forgiveness. I had a mindset early on in my business that I held that it was like us against them, kind of mentality. And that wasn't awesome, and just recently learning how much relationship is so important in business and growing a business and things like that. And just because I come from where I come from, where relationship wasn't a thing, and I really was on my own, it really was me against the world as a small person, a young person, then you take that into your business, whether you know it or not. And so then when you have awareness about it, being willing to have awareness about it, then getting to a point where I could move through having that awareness without judgment. Initially, there was a lot of judgment, a lot of shame, a lot of things that kept me very stuck because I'd be mortified, of the different mistakes I would make. The reality is it's just part of doing what we're doing. Even somebody who's very educated and knows exactly how to create a business, when they're first creating a business and going out into business, there's not any guarantee. So they're going to make mistakes too. And so that's just part of it. We all make mistakes. So I'm going to be sharing what it means to build and lead wholeheartedly. And that means with integrity, courage, accountability, compassion, and truth. I'm going to explore how survival patterns show up in business, why leaders must heal, and how to create teams and organizations that are both high performing and also deeply human. And so I'm excited to hang out with you today and just spend a little time fleshing this out. This is truly one of my favorite conversations to have, to talk about leadership, to talk about business, and to talk about wholehearted living in those things. I truly live this every single day. I truly am every day walking through my day and going, oh man, I could have done better there. Oh man, this is interesting how I showed up there. Oh, way to go, Jen. You did a great job there. I every day am making great investments in my business and withdrawals from my business. I am a very authentic and vulnerable person. So with that comes just kind of being in life and business. I don't show up to my business any different than I show up in life. Like that is another piece that I believe wholeheartedly is that we show up in our business as whole people. At Majors Realty Group, this is not corporate America. I've created this business very specifically to be a really safe space where you can have your cake and eat it too. You can create, promote, and allow anything it is that you want to experience in your life and your business, and you can experience that. And so I tell my people and I tell myself, don't leave your stuff at the door. Come in, your whole person. If you've got stuff going on in your marriage and your parenting, in your health, let us know. I'm not asking you to announce it in a team meeting, but I'm here. John is here. And if you need our support, we are here. I don't ever want you out there suffering alone. So if you need support, this is a great place to get it. We really do care about you here and want you to be supported. I'm a business owner. I lead people. I make decisions, big decisions. I carry responsibility. I've had wins and I have made mistakes. I have built things I'm proud of. And I've had seasons where I thought, Lord, I don't know if I can keep carrying this. Business is beautiful. Business can also be challenging. Leadership is meaningful. Leadership can also come at a cost. And if we're not careful, we can build something successful on the outside while becoming depleted, resentful, disconnected, and unhealthy on the inside. So today we're going to talk about how to show up, maybe not perfectly, but how to show up wholeheartedly. So here's the thing business will absolutely reveal in you. It's going to reveal the beliefs you have about money. It's going to reveal your relationship with control. It's going to reveal your fear of failure, your need for approval, the ability to have hard conversations, your boundaries, how you are with emotional regulation. It's going to reveal your trust in God, your willingness to delegate, your integrity, your insecurity, your resilience, your pride, your courage. Business is not just strategy. It is personal development on full display in front of whatever world you're operating in. And leadership is not just about getting people to do things. Leadership is about becoming someone worth following. So first, leadership is not about leading anybody else. Leadership truly is about leading ourselves. And if we can learn to lead ourselves with honesty and integrity and compassion, then we are just by osmosis going to be able to lead other people. And so I am a believer that leadership really starts here first. It also means we are not meant to be perfect. Leadership is not about being perfect. Leadership is about being honest. Leadership is about having integrity. Leadership is about being willing to take the time to dig into things and figure them out. Leadership is about kindness and compassion, and leadership is about taking accountability and being accountable. Leadership is about operating in excellence. Leadership is about accepting responsibility for your life and your business and everything in it. I just had a situation where I've been having this struggle in my property management division of my business for the last several years. It seems like, man, I'm having trouble getting it strong enough to where it can operate without me. And I think that's most business leaders' hope, is that they get their business to a place eventually where it can operate without them, or they can end up selling it and stuff. I know consciously eventually I'm going to want to retire and stuff. And yet I'm building this business. And man, sometimes I feel like I'm just banging my head against a wall with regard to property management, and doing property management in the Arctic conditions of Alaska can be incredibly challenging in the winter. And so I've gone through a couple of property management teams. My first property management team, I had to release and give my whole property management portfolio away to a friend who owns a real estate brokerage. So I could just ensure the owners were well taken care of. And at that point, I didn't feel like I had the capacity to do that and discover what all was going on. Then I reopened property management because I had a dear friend who was an investor. She begged me essentially to please open. So opened it back up, hired a new team within less than a year, discovering this was not working. And so we've just in the last 6 to 8 months released that team, hired a new team, are getting to a better place, and then realizing, man, I'm going to have to make more changes in my business, because it was clear to me that the people that I had in place were not the right people in place to take us to the next level of business, to ensure that we were creating a business that John and I could eventually step out of if we chose to, or that we don't have to work at the level that we have been working this whole entire time. And so that's been really difficult to do, to one, realize I've made some mistakes here, step into a place where I'm not in blaming and complaining mode, but taking responsibility for my business and everything in it means, man, everything starts and ends with me. So I can sit here and complain about this person, say that it's this person's fault, but at the end of the day, it's my fault. It's my business. It's my responsibility. So I just am choosing to move forward, and moving forward means having to make really big decisions that are very uncomfortable. And it's provided a lot of stress and question and strife and not great feelings. Once I move through that, the decisions made, we're moving forward, then it's exciting to see the opportunity. As leaders, we are never stuck. And if something's not working, really evaluate yourself and evaluate the team you have in place, and be sure that you have the right team members in place. I think culture is the number one thing for businesses to really be mindful of, is what is the mission and vision you have for your business, ensuring that you understand that and that your team understands that. And then ensuring that people that are a part of your business fit that culture, are willing to absolutely rise to the occasion and meet that mission and vision. And if they're not, well, then there's no decision need to be made. They're just choosing not to be part of the business because they're choosing not to line up with the culture and with the mission and vision. That's created a lot of ease for us. As we just look at that, we're very, our mission and vision is very important. It is integral to our business. It is our foundation. So you're either going to rise to the occasion of that, or you're not, and you're just going to fall away. And so that's where we found ourselves. And man, I for sure can get into a place where I'm feeling sorry for myself. I'm feeling sorry for the business. I don't want to do some of the things. And then I just decide, well, I love my business and I set my intention to do this, and this is my commitment. And so I'm going to do the work and get it fleshed out, get it corrected, and take us to the next level that the business needs to go to. So I also want to talk about survival leadership versus wholehearted leadership. So a lot of people lead from survival. I know I've led from survival a lot. And survival leadership sounds like I have to do everything myself. No one can do it as well as I can. If I slow down, everything's going to fall apart. I cannot trust people. I have to prove myself. I have to keep everyone happy. I cannot let anyone see me struggle. I just need to push harder. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Survival leadership may produce results for a while, but eventually it creates sheer exhaustion. It also creates bottlenecks, it creates resentment, it creates confused teams, it creates reactive decisions, it creates burnout. Wholehearted leadership is different. Wholehearted leadership says, I can lead with truth and compassion. I can hold people accountable without shaming them. I can build systems instead of carrying everything in my body. I can be strong without being harsh. Gosh, that's some place I really still work through. Man, if I'm holding something and because I don't want to be uncomfortable or I don't want to make somebody else uncomfortable and I then don't communicate openly with somebody and I'm holding it, and then something comes up or there's a trigger that happens, man, I can cut with my tongue or be really harsh or just say something abruptly. And that's never positive. So be mindful of that. Wholehearted leadership is I can be kind without being passive. I can admit mistakes without losing authority. I can make decisions from wisdom instead of fear. That's the kind of leadership that actually lasts. Be that type of leader. Integrity is the foundation of leadership. Integrity means that you're going to be doing the right thing no matter if nobody sees it. That when I'm on my private place or I'm just over here on the side and I can make a decision that goes against integrity, but what does that mean? If somebody doesn't see me do it, well, then maybe it's not that big of a deal, right? Well, I would just challenge you that spiritually it is a big deal. Spiritually, that other people are feeling that regardless if they see it or not, and you know it. And so that's going to break your own trust down in yourself. So wholehearted business starts with integrity. Integrity is the foundation. Doing the right thing, no matter where you are, no matter if you're behind closed doors or you're doing it in public. It means we tell the truth and the whole truth. It means we do what we said we're going to do. It means we own our mistakes. It means we do not use people to build our vision. It means we care about our clients, our team members, the money, the reputation, the impact without making any one of those things our God. Like our clients are not our source. Team members are not our source. Money is not our source. Our reputation is not our source. The impact we make is not our source. God is the source of all of those things. Integrity is not always convenient. Almost always it's not convenient, but it's always the right thing to do. It's always the best thing to do. It's always in the long run going to be the easier thing. Sometimes integrity costs money. Like in my business, if one of my people make a mistake and it costs several thousands of dollars and I'm going to make that right. Even if I don't have to, I'm going to come in and make that right. Sometimes integrity costs opportunities. Sometimes it requires an uncomfortable conversation. Sometimes it requires saying we are wrong and we're going to fix it. Integrity always creates trust, and trust is one of the most valuable currencies in business. You can have great marketing, great branding, great systems, and great talent. And if people don't trust you, your foundation is cracked. Compassion and accountability must work together. One of the biggest mistakes leaders make is choosing between compassion and accountability. Some leaders are compassionate but unclear. They avoid hard conversations. They rescue people. They overfunction. They tolerate poor performance. They call it kindness, but really it is fear of conflict. Some leaders are accountable but really harsh about it. Sometimes they demand performance. They just want you to perform. They don't want to really see who you are. They'll criticize. They'll control. They forget that people are human. They call it excellence, but really it is often fear, pride, or pressure. Compassion and accountability say, I care about you, and this expectation still matters. It's okay to have a boundary. It's okay to tell your people what you expect. That's what we should be doing, right? We got to tell them what the expectation is so they know how to meet it. They know what they have to meet. It's understanding that this has been hard, but we still need a plan. It's, I value you and we need to address this pattern, right? So having honest conversations. So our mission and vision here at Majors Realty Group is that we are a supportive team of inspired leaders and compassionate professionals. We value integrity, transparency, accountability, and excellence in service. We are passionate and we care about you. And that is for the clients that we serve. That's for the agents that we have here. That's for our staff. It's for ourselves. It's for the people that we interact with. It's for our community members. It's for our colleagues. It's for the person on the other side of that real estate transaction that's being served. Uh, so it's the full scope of who is Majors Realty Group and how are we showing up in the world. And that's what I would love to relay to you if you own a business or you work in a business as a leader, is really understanding how are you and your business and your leadership going to be showing up in the world? Who are you? What is your intention? And how do you want to be seen? What do you want to be? What do you want other people's perspective to be of you? Your team needs systems, not just your heart. Okay, so as leaders, especially visionary leaders like myself, we often care deeply. We want to help, we want to encourage, we want to make things better. But heart alone is not a business model. Your team needs systems. They need clear roles, clear expectations, clear KPIs, clear communication pathways, clear training, clear consequences, clear decision-making authority. When those things are missing, everyone becomes stressed because no one knows what the heck they're supposed to be doing. I know for me, because I just want people to be warm and fuzzy and feel good, that's been a hard thing for me to put in place. And then I find myself frustrated. So I've had to take the time to really sit with my people and understand they understand their role, and to have an open communication that says, and if something's not working, please share that with me. Maybe somebody else can be having that portion of that role. Let's make this work. Let's make a beautiful win-win solution here. Also, when those things aren't in place, the leader becomes the answer to every question. Constantly, people are coming to you and asking you questions. The team becomes dependent. Communication gets messy. Performance becomes inconsistent, and then everyone is frustrated. Wholehearted leadership does not mean you just love people well, although that's beautiful. We want to love people well, right? It means you build an environment where people can succeed, and it requires structure. I also want to talk about how money is spiritual too. This is something that many are challenged with. Money is spiritual, how we earn it, how we steward it, how we spend it, how we fear it, how we avoid it, how we use it, how we talk about it. In business, money matters, right? Cash flow matters, profit matters, pricing matters, debt matters, payroll matters, stewardship matters. Sometimes faith-based leaders feel guilty about making a profit. Or sometimes if you're like me, you just wanted to have a family gig. That was like the last thing that was on my mind. I went into business thinking, man, we're going to make so much money because we have our own brokerage. Hilariously, I think a lot of us real estate broker owners, when they have an agent go to another place or when they have an agent open up their own brokerage because they're going to make so much more money, we all kind of giggle inside. And I'm sure that's what happened as I shared with people, my local colleagues and past brokers and stuff, that I was opening up my own business. I'm sure there was a little giggle inside that says, aha, you think it's going to be so much easier. Now that I've got 5 years under my belt, well, really 8 years under my belt as a broker owner, I realize, oh man, there's a lot that goes into being a broker owner that I did not consider at the beginning. And so there is a lot for sure. And financially, it's not something I really thought a lot about. I just now in my business having to adjust things and take some of the pressure off and realize that I needed to restructure some things. Now it's become very important and I understand it deeply. But at the beginning, for sure, I did not understand it. I just had a hope and a dream. I was very excited about it. Profit allows you to pay people, right? It allows you to serve your clients well. It allows you to give generously, create stability, invest in growth, and ultimately keep your doors open. A business that is constantly financially strained will eventually strain the people inside of it. You're not going to keep it secret. People can feel you. We are energetic receiving stations. So that's why I tell people to show up fully, because we can all feel when you're going through something anyway. So that's the same as true. Like when the leadership is going through stuff, the people can feel it, and people can kind of get a little wonky. So that's why I believe in transparency. I'm not going to overshare and tell people, violate boundaries and all that kind of stuff, but I am very open about things that are going on. And I think it makes us better for it. I think it connects us deeper because of it. Wholehearted business means you're not going to worship money, but you can't ignore the money piece of it. We got to steward it wisely, honestly, and faithfully. And healing, wholehearted healing, that's the basis of why we're here, right? For the Wholehearted Impact podcast. And healing makes you a better leader. Unhealed leaders often lead from a place of fear, or there's going to be a place of lack. And the fear is, fear of being rejected, fear of being exposed, fear of being disrespected or failing, fear of losing control, fear of not being enough. And when fear is leading the leader, everyone feels it. Healing helps us pause and listen. It helps us to own our part, to tell the truth, helps us to learn to regulate our emotions, to do the work to learn the tools in order to do that, to help us make clearer decisions, to stop projecting old wounds onto current situations. So that's very true for like money. If you've got a lack mentality around money because you grew up without any and now you've got some, there's going to be some old wounds there and old limiting beliefs that potentially affect your current situation. Stop confusing someone's disagreement with abandonment. We realize that just because we're disagreeing doesn't mean we're going to break up, or just because we're having a disagreement doesn't mean we're not going to be in each other's lives. Like, we can have a disagreement and be healthy about it and still stay in relationship. That's something for sure that I've learned recently. We stop interpreting feedback as an attack. We stop hanging out in victim land and persecutor land, and we start hanging out on the empowerment triangle, where we are a creator and a challenger and a coach. And so we stop viewing the world through this lens of victim, which oftentimes sees like, oh, I'm going to be attacked, or I'm going to become a victim again. So we stop interpreting feedback as an attack. We stop trying to earn worth through overwork. It's a whole striving and grinding. Like, if I'm not doing this, why am I worthy? Healing does not make leadership easy, but it makes it healthier and it makes it more graceful. And eventually, I do believe it does get easier. I do believe things can be easy and simple. As long as we do the work, break it down, create the steps, we got this. So here's a simple framework that I'd love to share with you. A wholehearted leader is going to ask 5 questions regularly. This is the Wholehearted Leadership Framework. We're going to ask, what is true? Not what do I wish were true? Not what am I avoiding, but what is actually true right now about whatever the situation is you're moving through. Then we're going to ask ourselves, what is mine to own? This keeps us responsible without taking responsibility for somebody else. So what is mine to own? Then, what needs to be communicated clearly? Most leadership breakdowns involve unclear or delayed communication. What systems need to be strengthened? If the same issue keeps repeating, it is usually a systems issue, or a people issue, or it's both. What would love and wisdom require here? So not fear, not ego, not avoidance, but love and wisdom. Love always wins, even in business. So those 5 questions again are, what is true? What is mine to own? What needs to be communicated clearly? What system needs to be strengthened? What would love and wisdom require here? Those are the 5 steps in the Wholehearted Leadership Framework. And then let's talk about success without losing our soul. At the end of the day, I do not just want to build successful businesses. I want to build things that are healthy, things that honor God, things that serve people, things that create freedom, things that bless my family, things that allow people to grow, things that do not require me to abandon myself. Because success that costs you your soul is too expensive. Okay? If it's costing you those things, it's not worth it. You're not stuck. So if you're feeling that way, just let this opportunity just be a space of just awareness that says, oh, interesting, I'm finding myself there. I feel those ways. Just have awareness. and then ask God for the next right step. Anything that costs you your soul, costs the way that you feel about yourself, the way that you're able to show up in the world, if it's taking time away from your precious family that you don't want it to take, it's probably not worth it. If it's not serving you in the ways that you're hoping it to serve, it's just not worth it. Because I want to succeed, but I also want peace. I want growth, but I also want health. I want to live a long time. I want impact, but I also want integrity. I want excellence, and I want to be human. I want to reside in my humanity. And that, my friends, is wholehearted business. So this week, I want you to ask yourself, am I leading from survival or am I leading from wholeness? And then ask, what is one thing I can clarify, delegate, systemize, or heal so that I can lead better? And if this episode helped you, share it with a business owner, a leader, a manager, entrepreneur who is carrying a lot right now. You can build something meaningful without losing yourself. You can lead with strength and compassion. You can pursue excellence and still honor your humanity. You can be successful and whole at the same time. I am Jen Majors, and this is the Wholehearted Impact Podcast. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of the Wholehearted Impact Podcast. If this encouraged you, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs hope today. For more resources, coaching, speaking, and my book, visit wholeheartedimpact.com.